Hey everyone, this is Nathan Williams with BlackRain79.com, and I'm back here with a new hand history review for you guys. This hand was sent to me by Rinus from Latvia. I hope I got that name right. And this hand was played at 888 Poker NL2 full ring. So let's jump right into the action here. So Villain 16 from Under the Gun comes in for a 2.5x raise, I guess, to 5 cents there. The information that Rinus has sent me on this player is that he is a fishy type player with a VPIP of 33. That's the number of percentage of hands that he's playing. PFR, pre-flop raise of 10 and an aggression factor of 2. So not a crazy loose fish, but clearly a recreational player. 33% of hands is way too much for full ring. The huge gap between the VPIP and the PFR, the low aggression factor, so all the telltale signs of a recreational player are there. So Rinus has Queen Jack on the button, and he decides to make the call. Now, just before I get into this hand, as I always talk about in every single hand that I've ever reviewed on my blog and my books and these videos, is before anything, you should always be looking at the stack size, the most important thing. Now, I know that on 888 Poker in the NL2 game, I think it's just the NL2 game, that the max buy-in, I believe, is 50 big blinds last time I checked there. So a lot of times in this game, you're playing short stacked yourself. You're playing 50 big blinds, or somebody else is playing short stacks as well. Actually, I wrote an article last year specifically on 50 big blind strategy. If you want to know more about that, I will link that in the description below this video, because it does change the game, the way that the game plays a fair bit. And so the player in this hand, as you can see, is sitting on, well, you had $1.47 to start the hand, so essentially about 75 big blinds to start the hand. So that is going to factor into my thinking in this hand. Basically, the short story behind that, when 100 big blinds is a full stack, by the way, typically in online poker, 75 big blinds, 50 big blinds, as we go down and down, basically the short story is that I'm more likely to stack off lighter with a top pair, with a two pair of trips type hand, than I would against a full stack. So with that said, let's just jump into the action, see what happens. So we flop top pair, but the point that I want to make here is that I hope you guys understand on this board is that, yeah, we flop top pair. That is awesome, but this is a crazy action-heavy board where there are so many draws. There are so many ways that, frankly, we can be beat right now as well. So while I am happy to hit top pair here, that's always great. This is by no means like a fist pump. Yeah, we nailed the flop. Like, we have top pair. That's cool, but it's by no means the nuts. So let's see what happens here. So Villain 16, who once again we've pegged as a recreational player, not crazy. He's not a crazy fish or anything like that, but he's clearly not he's not a regular. He's probably not a winning player. He's just a guy who kind of plays for fun. So he decides to check, and it goes back to Rinus. The action goes on to him. And I 100% agree with Rinus's decision here to bet. I don't really want to just give a free card here to some random draw like 5-7 or something and let him just hit a free 6 or something on the turn. So I completely agree with Rinus's decision here. I think his bet sizing is good as well. I'm totally on board with everything there. And interestingly, Villain 16 goes for the old check mini raise. Now, I talked about that, I think, 2 videos ago when we were also talking about a hand versus a fish, where, as I discussed in that video, we really do need to respect this, especially, like I said in that video, is that 90% of fish are passive. Like, it's only about 10%, if that, of fish that are like maniac or aggro fish. Most of them are very loose and passive. And so when they make a raise after the flop here, even if it's just a silly little mini raise like this on the flop, you actually do need to respect this. Like, it usually is a strong hand. Now, this doesn't mean that they're never bluffing here. They will show up with bluffs from time to time, some crazy nonsense ace-3 or something. But the vast majority of the time, this is representing strength, and we do need to respect this. I would never ever want to come over the top in a situation like this with a re-raise. I think that just calling is 100% the correct play. Rhinus agrees with me, and we go to a turn. Now, turn, of course, is super interesting because that card definitely does improve our hand. Now, of course, we still don't have the nuts by any means, but we're definitely feeling a lot more confident about our hand at this point. So let's see what Villain 16 does first. He does decide to check. This hand, I looked at this hand briefly before I hit the record button. I really went back and forth in this spot a lot. I actually thought maybe to check behind in a spot like this when I first looked at this, but then I'm thinking, I don't know. I mean, I think we're just giving up value too much. I mean, there's just too many draws that he can have. Rhinus does decide to bet, and I think that is completely fine. I like the sizing of half pot is all right as well. He could go a little bit more, but again, I don't want to split hairs. This is the interesting point in the hand because the fish decides to go for the the whole double check mini raise. So he's basically at this point, he's representing unbelievable strength in this spot. He's representing a flop straight. He's representing trips with a better kicker. He's representing a full house. I mean, there's just, in my experience, guys, having played millions of hands at these stakes, that they're just a passive recreational player like this is just not ever going to be bluffing in a situation like this. They just don't do this. Like, it's just not in their playbook, right? So now this is such a gross spot because there's just no way we can ever fold here with trips and the third best kicker. There's of course ways that if we are somehow behind, we still do have outs, of course, on the river. If he's got a straight, you know, we've got, I think, about 10 outs or something to beat that hand. You know, we can, even if he's got a full house with 8s or 9s, I mean, we can still beat that hand. You know, we've got outs against those kind of hands. So there's just no way that I could ever fold in this spot here, but I don't really know that I ever want to jam in this spot either. So Rhinus, I agrees with me. I'm completely, once again, I agree with his decision completely to just call here. I'm pretty much just hating my life throughout this entire hand. This is just a gross hand. So now we can't beat King Queen, but we weren't beating King Queen anyways before. Yeah, that card really just doesn't help us in any way. Let's see how the action goes. So Villain does decide to shove the rest in. It's so gross. I mean, honestly, guys, I'm actually really interested in your guys' opinion below. Let me know. I think that probably a lot of people have opinions on this hand. Let me know your comments below. Like, would you call here? Like, it's so gross. Like, I don't even know. Like we're basically just only beating a complete bluff at this point. I mean, we can beat Queen 10, or we can't even beat Queen 9 or Queen 8. I mean, there's just not a whole lot we're beating besides like Queen 10. I think that plays. Yeah, our jack should play there. Or a complete bluff. I mean, it is such a gross spot. I'll show you guys the results. They're not good for us. I don't know. I don't know that I'm good enough to make a fold here, guys. Maybe you guys are. Again, let me know below your thoughts on the hand. I thought that Rhinus played the hand fine overall. Thank you for sending me the hand, Rhinus. Super interesting. Maybe, as I talked about stack size off the top earlier in this hand. Maybe against a full stack, 100 big blinds, I could have gotten away at some point, maybe on the river when he jams. But when he starts the hand with 75 big blinds, it makes it harder. If he had 50 big blinds to start the hand, I'm not even considering ever folding here. 75 is kind of in that middle range. Maybe versus 100 big blind stack, I could have got away here and saved a bit of money. But overall, I really can't disagree with any decision that Rhinus made in this hand. I think I'd probably play it the same. It is a really gross spot, guys. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, let me know your thoughts below. You know, if you play it the same, if you play a different way, if you get away somehow. Make sure you guys like the video. If you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you want to see tons more videos like this. Like I said, I'm always putting out new videos and specifically on these stakes. I know you guys are... I ran a huge survey a couple weeks ago on my blog just to find out what stakes you guys are playing. I know you guys are playing the NL2 NL5, NL10, so $1, $2 live and stuff like that. So these are, I'm only covering these stakes. So if you want consistent poker strategy on the stakes that you guys are actually playing, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Check out my blog as well, blackcrane79.com. And make sure you also grab a copy of my free poker strategy ebook below. It's the link in the description. That will give you my complete strategy on how I crush these stakes. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. It's been Nathan Williams with blackcrane79.com.